What up, data nerds? I'm Luke, and I'm a data analyst. I recently got the new MacBook Pro with an M1 chip, and I'm going through and setting it up for all the tools I need, but I thought I'd share a lot of the lessons learned to you as well. Specifically, I wanted to look at how it performs for three basic types of operations for data science. One being spreadsheets, so things like Microsoft Excel. Two being coding, so common ones that I use of Python and R. And then finally, business intelligence tools such as Tableau and Power BI. So to start, let's talk about some basic specs for my new M1 MacBook. So the new MacBook is a 13-inch MacBook Pro, and it has 16 gigabytes of memory, and it's using the M1 chip. And from the research I've found is that the M1 chip performs very similar between the MacBook Pro and also the MacBook Air. So a lot of the stuff that I'm doing in this video can also be applied to the MacBook Air. Additionally, I'll be performing some performance tests comparing my new M1 Mac to my previous Intel Mac. My previous Intel Mac was a 13-inch MacBook Pro with 16 gigabytes of memory and an Intel i5 processor that I got back in 2018. Okay, so let's jump into what tools are available for spreadsheet users. First tool we're going to be looking at is Apple's Numbers. So this is an app that is native to the Mac. And so because of that, it's going to be compatible. It has everything that you may need for basic spreadsheet operations. And just a little fun fact, you can also import and export Excel files for it. So if you needed to in a crunch and you don't have Microsoft Excel, you could use Numbers for this. The next tool to look at for spreadsheets is Google Sheets. And there's actually no app that you could actually get to install for this application, like you can on your phone or an iPad. Instead, it's native to your web browser. So I use Google Chrome, but that's how you would access it. And because you're using it via your browser, it's going to have the same compatibility regardless of the architecture. Okay, so let's move in the tool that most people actually use for spreadsheet, and that's Microsoft Excel. And this one we're actually going to be doing more of a deep dive for analysis. So I went in and I downloaded Microsoft Office Suite. I have a license for it, and I was able to download it and went and installed very simply and very quickly, actually. What I thought was really interesting with this was Microsoft has actually upgraded all of their products to run natively on Apple Silicon, so you don't have to use Rosetta for this. So now that I have Microsoft Excel installed, I wanted to go through and see how it performed compared to my old Intel Mac. Specifically, I just wanted to launch the application, do some common operations such as copying, pasting, entering formulas, dragging those formulas down. And then I wanted to perform a test as well. And the test that I performed was I had a list of a million rows, and they had random numbers within it. And I wanted to use the filter function to sort that row, or sort the column of a million numbers and see how long it took. So what I found was that the new M1 Mac actually sorted the row of about a million values in a much faster time. So it took about 5 seconds to sort this column. And where my Intel Mac took about 9 seconds to. Additionally, during this process of just messing around with Excel further, I found that Excel was so much more responsive on the M1 Mac and so much quicker compared to my previous Intel Mac, where I'd get the spinny little circle saying that it was trying to load. So overall, I was very impressed with the performance of Microsoft Excel on the M1 MacBook. So for those spreadsheet users out there, if you're looking to get the new M1 MacBook for spreadsheet operations, I highly recommend it. You have a multitude of different tools to actually use, and Microsoft Excel operates even quicker than the old Intel Macs. Okay, so let's move now into coding on an M1 MacBook. We're gonna be looking at two specific languages. We're gonna be looking at R and also Python. For data science, there are two primary ways of getting Python on your computer. You can either use python.org or the Anaconda distribution to load a package of different tools that also includes Python. For python.org, whenever the new version of Python, so Python 3.9, it is supported on Apple Silicon. And that's really awesome if you want to use it for that, but a lot of the libraries and packages are still under development and working out a little bit of kinks. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend using this approach just yet on the M1 MacBook for your data science needs. I'm going to be using the Anaconda distribution, and it hasn't been updated yet for the Apple Silicon architecture, so it's going to be run through Rosetta. But I feel like this is going to accomplish more than enough of my need. So let's start looking at it through using Python through the Anaconda distribution. So for this, I went to the Anaconda website and downloaded the installer for Anaconda. And as you can see in this example, whenever I download Spotify, which also was an application that didn't run natively on Apple Silicon, it prompts you to accept and use Rosetta. And so I did that also during this time when loading the Anaconda distribution. Since we're running it in the Intel architecture using Rosetta, all packages are supported. So I went through and just to test, but tested, NumPy, SciPy, Pandas, and scikit-learn and TensorFlow, and I didn't have any issues when actually running through and operating it for these different packages. They all work perfectly fine. Finally, for Python, I wanted to go in and test how long it takes the Python code to operate on my new MacBook compared to my old Intel Mac. And for this, what I wanted to do was just do a simple operation that I could use a timing to time how long it takes to append a list of numbers from 1 to 10,000. So when I ran this with my M1 MacBook, this took about 17 seconds. And when running it with my Intel MacBook, my old one, took about 22 seconds. So overall, what I found was the performance on the new M1 MacBook was a 20% increase in the performance for running Python code. And additionally, whenever I was just going through and using Python in general on this computer, I felt it wasn't very clunky at all. It was operating just fine, but overall I didn't find a lot of big differences between my old Mac and my new Mac. So if you're a hardcore Python coder and looking to get the M1 MacBook for Python, I highly recommend it. It seems fully supported, especially if you're using the Anaconda distribution. If you're really keen on sticking with that python.org, so that core Python only, I would maybe wait a little bit till it gets further developed. So next, let's look at another popular coding language, and that is R. And there's two versions of R that you could get to whether you want to install it using Rosetta and Intel architecture or using it on Apple Silicon. So the newer version of R is available for a beta to run on Apple Silicon. But like I said, it's in the beta, similar to Python. I wouldn't necessarily recommend this at the time. They do have a stable version that runs via Rosetta, and that's the one that I used, and we're going to go through and actually test that version. So for this, I went in and installed R, and then I don't really know how to use R through the command line, so I installed RStudio. It installs hosted in Rosetta using Intel as the architecture. Similar to Python, since it's running in this Intel architecture, all the packages are supported. So specifically, I'll just call it ggplot, tidyverse, and shiny. All of them I had no problems loading and actually operating within RStudio. From there, I wanted to do a performance test, once again comparing my new M1 MacBook to my old Intel Mac, and I want to just do a similar test that I did previously with Python. So joining numbers 1 through 10,000 in a string and seeing how long that it takes. When I ran this on my new M1 MacBook, it came out in 1.4 seconds-ish. And for the old Intel Mac, it was about 2.4 seconds-ish. And so that's about 40% improvement for the seconds-wise, not super great improvement, but it is an improvement nonetheless. So overall, what I found with R, similar to Python, very responsive, operated super well within the M1 MacBook. And so if you're an R user, I highly recommend it. Get the M1 MacBook and use it. And eventually they're going to update R as well to be supported on Apple Silicon. Okay, the last segment, we're gonna be looking at business intelligence or BI applications that you can use. And specifically, we're gonna be looking at Google Data Studio, Tableau, and also Power BI. So the first one we're going to be looking at, Google Data Studio. For this, Google Data Studio doesn't have an application per se. It's going to be used within your web browser. So like I was mentioning previously, I use Google Chrome, and I found when operating within Google Chrome, it's operating just fine as expected. So if you're a Google Data Studio guru and you're using that a lot, I don't see any problem with continuing to use it on an M1 MacBook. Okay, so moving into Tableau. This is when the bad news starts to happen with the M1 MacBook. So whenever I went through and tried to go in and download and install the current version of Tableau onto my computer, I ran into some issues. And so I had to research this further. And upon research, I found that the current version of Tableau, so 2020.4, it's not currently compatible with Apple Silicon. I did find that you can do a workaround, and if you needed to get Tableau on your computer, you can install a previous version. So I did that. I installed version 2020.3. But from what I've read so far, I don't think it's going to be necessarily fully compatible or even fully supported by Tableau. So because of these different issues, yes, if you already have an M1 MacBook and you need to use it for Tableau, you can do it. But I wouldn't recommend it right now to upgrade your new Mac to run Tableau on it because Tableau isn't formally supporting it right now. Okay, and the final BI tool to cover is Power BI. And you're probably saying, Luke, Power BI is a Microsoft-based application. How are you even installing it on an Apple computer? And to that I say, I run a virtual machine on my old Intel Mac. And through that I can host Windows within it. And I'm able to actually use Power BI in the virtual machine if I need to. It's a little slow and a little clunky, but overall it can get the job done. One other option to note for Windows on a Mac computer, previously on the Intel Macs, you could use Boot Camp to do a dual boot, whether you wanted to launch Windows or you wanted to launch Apple's operating system. But unfortunately, Boot Camp on the new M1 MacBook isn't supported, so you can't run Windows via Boot Camp on the MacBook. Additionally, I looked into different virtualization machines, so different VMs to be hosted on the M1 MacBook, and all of the VMs are currently under development and they're still trying to update the coding so that way those virtual machines can actually run on this new Apple Silicon chip. They do have one option that works right now, but it's quite lengthy on how to install, and I'll include a link in the description. So if you're looking to go that route to install a virtual machine, check it out. But it was just overall too complicated and too burdensome, so I just abandoned it. So for Power BI, I would wait, if you use it on your Mac, I would wait until Apple and Microsoft develop further to support Microsoft on an M1 Mac. So just a quick recap. If you're a spreadsheet user, you have a multitude of different options. You can use Microsoft Excel, Google Sheets, or Apple's Numbers. And all of them are fully supported on the Apple Silicon, so highly recommend switching to the M1 MacBook if you use it primarily for those operations. For coding, we tested out Python and R. Both of them have beta versions that you can run on Apple Silicon, but I recommend running them via Intel using Rosetta. So my recommendation for those coders out there that are using Python or R, definitely check out the M1 MacBook for this. And then finally, business intelligence tools. So Google Data Studio works in Chrome browser. It's a no-brainer. You can continue to use it. Things like Tableau is not yet supported. And then things like virtual machines and Boot Camp don't support Microsoft being run on your MacBook. So for business intelligence users, I don't really recommend getting the M1 MacBook right now. It's not mature enough with the software development from third parties. And so you're going to need to wait a little bit for this. So with that, I hope you got some value out of this video. Smash that like button to help me out. And with that, let's run some B-roll footage of my new M1 Mac.